Hello and welcome to the All the Pies YouTube channel. My name's Kev, that is Davy, and now Yazan fell over with shock from the outstanding result of last night when Newcastle United beat Manchester City 1-0. So we'll be going through that today, and we're also going to take a look ahead to this weekend's game against Burnley as we host them even at the 3 p.m. kickoff. It's in James's Park. So let's get into it.
God, he scored so many goals.
Hello. Can you hear
Look at
us?
that. I can hear you. Can you see that though?
What? Oh,
Aye. Yeah.
that wasn't like that 2 minutes ago.
No, it wasn't. I've just popped them in.
I'm getting
was
blinded. I'm getting
Oh.
blinded.
I look like Jurgen Klopp, don't I? I hate myself. I was hoping you were going to have the banjo, Davy. So then you could play the Hillbilly song and be like, yeah.
I should have practiced. I should have practiced that. I thought, oh, I know how to play that dead easy, and then come to do it, and I just I've completely forgot. But yeah, I'm not.
I've got to be Nashers.
I'm not going to be back knackered, so I'm lying down on the job.
Well, I had noticed there was something slightly different about you, Davy.
Horizontal.
You've gone for the horizontal, and I was saying before we came on that this isn't unusual for this channel. We have had a few horizontal side videos, so maybe it's the Simon effect that's happening here. Maybe I'll start doing mine lying down as well. We could be onto something here. But I've told you before, when I lie down, that's it. I'm asleep. So it won't be a very good video of me just going. So how are you keeping it anyways?
All right, apart from my stupid back, but doing the collection yesterday and having to be in the town and sat in my wheelchair for God knows how many hours, and my back's been really bad for the last 2 weeks. And I've been driving up and down to see the Grand Bain, and I've just been doing too much. I went to see my osteopath today, and he told us off, and he says I can't sit in my wheelchair for as long as I have been doing, so I can't do collections for a while. He's okay as for the match, though. I'm match fit, but that's basically just it. And I've got to try and get to the match and just sit there, get straight back and get moving. I've got to keep going to the pool, which I did earlier on, but the getting there and getting in is the problem. Once I'm in, I'm fine, but just to get my legs moving. But it's just one of them things. Can't do nothing about it. So, and he wants us to go back for a freebie to check us out, but it's next bloody Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
Ooh.
And there's a certain match on next Wednesday as well, so I've got to go to South Shields.
I'll possibly think what that is.
Oh, no, it's not particularly important, like. So I'm going to be struggling getting back, but I will get back. But it just hoists something else into the mix, and I'm just a little bit fed up. But on a plus, though, when I was in the pool, I was talking to people in that, and they were saying like, "Oh, how are you doing?" and that. And I says, "Oh, great. I'm a granddad now, and all this. They call us gravy and whatever." And they says, "You're a granddad?" I says, "Yeah. How old are you, like?" And I says, "Well, how old do you think I am?" And one says, "Well, I reckon you're about, 43? And the lad says, "No, I'd say 45 because you got some grey." I says, "I'm 54. You're never 54.
Hey.
And then I put it on Twitter and just laughing about it. And there's a guy I met last night. His wife apparently thought I was in my early 30s. So
in the early 30s?
I feel like I'm about 95, but I don't look my age apparently. So
Nah, you don't look your age. 30s, early 30s. That's a compliment, Davey, isn't it?
Oh, I know.
I've never had early 30s in.
Since you were in your 30s.
Even when I was in my 30s, I didn't get my early 30s, to be honest with you. Like, no, well, that's it. I'm the wrong side of 40. I had my 40th in January, And to be honest with you, once you hit your 30s, they're all the
He's
same, and
mad.
you are who you are by that stage, aren't you?
Aye.
Well, ironically enough, I've getting my teeth sorted, but I've got a sore gob. I've got a bit of toothache on one of my teeth. So I thought, well, that's par for the course, that isn't it? You know what I mean? Finally get me cholas back, and then I get a sore tooth. So I am on painkillers for that.
But
So if I start slurring off, it's because I've had too much codeine. So, but anyways,
right,
we've
aye,
got a
we're
lot.
gonna
We've
get
got a lot to
into it.
get
Aye,
through on
we're
the
gonna
video.
take a
Aye,
bloody
so,
medical podcast.
aye, it is. Aye, are you ready though, Davey?
I am this. I think I'm ready, aye.
You
I
think?
think
Are
I
you sure
am.
you're ready?
Aye.
I mean, you seem quite ready, but are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Hey, lad.
Hey, there he is. There he is. There he is. So last night at the 8 p.m. kickoff at St James's Park, Newcastle United. Such is our sort of, I guess it's our role within cup competitions at the moment, is to try and get rid of big teams from these.
Aye.
So Champions League draw was happily for me a difficult draw. We got a difficult draw in the cup
Yeah,
last
you
night
want to play
against
the good
Manchester
teams, don't
City.
you? Aye.
That's it. And I mean, unless you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, or you're a Macam and you've been avoiding it, you will see that we did the number on them. We did a number on them, but it probably didn't feel like it was going to be that way the first half. So before we get into the performance, we'll have just a little recap of the teams, because I was really intrigued with the teams when they came out.
Yeah, I didn't do too
You
badly
already.
with my selections.
Mhm,
There was
mhm.
a couple I had that were maybe on, in slightly wrong positions, but I had 8 out of the 11 for Man City. I put Walker in, and it was Guardiola was playing on the left and Lewis playing on the right. And Kovacic I didn't think was fit, so he came and I didn't know about him. I had Foden playing. And I had Bob playing in the middle. He changed. I had it 4-2-3-1, but he went 4-3-3. And Gomez kind of was in the middle. And I had Doku up front, but he had Alvarez up front. But they basically, if you look at them, they were still cracking players.
Oh yeah, I mean
In the
the full
first
team.
half, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I mean, so the full team for them was Marino. They had Lewis, Akanji, Ake, and Gvardiol. Now, Akanji and Ake, they played a lot last season together,
Yeah,
anyways. So
yeah,
that was effectively their centre back partnership for a
yeah,
lot of last season. So although you're saying it's a rotated, and everybody's saying it's a rotated squad, it's not a fucking bad back
yeah,
line
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I had Gomez, Phillips, Kovacic, and you are spot on with your Bob prediction. Aye, and he was good. Him actually, I was Oscar Bob. I was really surprised that I hadn't heard of him before, because he was a standout
Yeah.
player for them. And then obviously we had Almiron's best
Grealish
pal
played, yeah.
and Alvarez. As for the Newcastle team, well, I mean, I'll read it out. I mean, we all know what it was. It was Pope, Livramento, Lascelles, Dummett, Target. You had Lewis Hall, Lewis Miley, Tonali, Murphy, Joe Linton, and Isaac up front. Now,
Mhm.
when the teams first came out, I don't know about you, Davey, I was a little bit concerned when I saw the back four. I thought, first of all, Dummett hasn't played, he hasn't kicked a
Yeah,
ball in over a year in a
yeah.
partnership with Lascelles. But I tell you what,
Oh, they were fantastic. I mean, I had Botman in there, and I was thinking he's going to play one of the two, and I put Botman because I thought he'd play Lascelles over Dummett. But Dummett just looked like a different bloke. He was fit. You could tell just looking at him, how fit he was and getting around the pitch. I mean, the two of them were absolutely cracking. Some of the tackles and blocks and
oh, I mean, there was
everything were brilliant.
one tackle in particular he got on Grealish in the first half.
Yeah,
Was perfectly timed. Had to be, man, because if he mistimed that, he was off.
yeah, yeah.
But he was spot on with it. But yeah, I mean that first half was, I mean, I'm I'm going to say, yeah, I think we were kind of lucky, really, to be 0-0 at half time because
Well,
we started off not too bad. But there was a break by
yeah,
Isaac and Guardiola defended him off rather
yeah.
nicely. But apart from that, and a Murphy chance at the end of the half, it was a
But
bit of
that
a
this is
passing
the thing
mistake.
though, Kev, because the way I see it is, yeah, they had loads of possession and it was really difficult for after the first 15 minutes. They really settled in because early on I said to everyone around us, I says, look at Pep. He's absolutely furious because we were actually hanging on to the ball for fairly decent lengths of time, and he has got this thing where he wants them to win the ball back within 9 seconds. And he was going absolutely off it, mental on the sides. You could see he was having a word with them, and they just kind of they did what they did. I mean, they're the best passing side in the world, you know. And but the thing was, they only really had those two chances with Alvarez, and that was about it. And I think Murphy's chance was a better chance. So it shows how well the defense did in the first half, and in the midfielders as well. That they didn't look, they didn't catch the eye as much first half.
Uh-huh.
But Tonali, Miley, and Hall defensively, I think that they were really good. Some of the passes were decent, but we didn't hold on to it. A lot of the passes, the control wasn't quite there first half as well from a couple of the players. But I think
Yeah.
we did okay, and we were still in it at half time. Obviously, it was 0-0.
Well, that's the thing, Davey. That they kept himself in it, didn't they? That's and when you looked at some of the inexperience in that lineup, although Dummett and Lascelles are experienced players, relatively speaking, within the frame of the
Yeah,
last 12 months or so, probably lacking a bit of game time on there. And
yeah,
then you've obviously got Lewis Miley. I mean, to make your full debut in
yeah,
a competitive game against Manchester City. I mean, if there's ever a
yeah,
baptism of fire, that's going to be one. Now,
yeah,
I kind of had mixed feelings on it at the beginning because I thought myself, oh, has he done him a bit of a dirty? Yeah, because sometimes you can come in against a team like that and
yeah.
find it really difficult, and it can knock your confidence back. But I don't think that happened.
I,
Although I
I
don't
think
think
it.
he. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no,
I was
go
going
on.
to say, although I don't think that he set the world alight by any means, I didn't see him making any major mistakes neither. He kind of slotted in
No,
all right
no,
on there.
no. I mean, we know how good he is from what we've seen just in the pre-season games, and he looks a class player. And I mean, he was playing against Phillips and Alvarez and um, Kovacic. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
players like that in and around him, and he did all right, Um, but then
Yeah, he did.
half time, he obviously had a word with them, and I don't think the substitutions. Obviously, I mean, Eddie Howe said himself, it's not saying anything bad against the players that came off, but you had two young lads coming off who were replaced by Gordon and Bruno, two top class players, and there's obviously going to be a slight difference there. But the difference, as he said, was in attitude. And we did second half what we did to them when we played them early last season. And we just went for it, and we just got in their faces, pressed, made sure as soon as they got the ball, there was somebody on them immediately, making it difficult for them. And they couldn't handle it. They
No,
just couldn't handle it at all. And I mean, everybody was cheering every tackle and every sliding tackle. The sliding tackles were brilliant. And
I mean, it was chalk and cheese, Davey, wasn't it? The two
uh,
halves, because I mean,
yeah,
I was sitting at half time thinking to myself, oh, we could maybe hold on for penalties if we're lucky. But when he
yeah,
when he made them substitutions, if I'm being honest, I didn't see that coming at that
yeah,
particular time at half time. And again, Lewis Hall and Lewis Smiley hadn't necessarily done anything wrong, but
yeah,
I think Eddie Howe saw an opportunity there and thought to himself, "Well, hang on a second. We're being honest, 0-0. We'll take that at half time.
yeah,
If I can bring a couple of senior players in here, and try and turn the screw a little bit and get a bit of momentum going our ways. I
Yeah.
said to a bloke down the bottom, I says one goal will win this game for whoever wants it, whether that's Man City or whether that's us. It was to be proven right. But yeah, the difference in performance in the second half. I mean, straight away, Bruno, he's getting his form back, isn't he? He looked fantastic in the middle, and Gordon just giving them problems straight from the off. And for the goal, it'd been coming before that, hadn't it? We'd been putting up a bit of pressure, and it went from sort of a little bit of a subdued atmosphere in the ground to all of a sudden a big atmosphere, and it all sort of came together at the right time, didn't it?
I mean, there was 15 passes around the pitch that led to the goal, but the key one for me was Lascelles, and Lascelles had tried the same pass, I think, 3 times before that, where Murphy was coming in inside very slightly and coming a little bit deeper, and he got himself in between the guy, I forget who it was now. Was it for Guardiola?
Yes.
In between him and he kind of left him and come in between Gomez and Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And that same ball happened a few times, and Lascelles was looking for that pass again and again and again. You could see that's probably being tried in training, where they're getting into that gap. But the one that worked was where, obviously, he had a little bit of time and he looked, and it was a perfectly weighted ball, and Phillips was just too central, just very central, and Murphy turned, and he was away. And Phillips gave up straight away, and then a couple of passes, bang, and then, the little run that Joelinton did and squared the ball across. And Lewis, their fullback, looked like he was worried because he was right in front of the goal, and he just seemed to skip over it. Now, whether he knew that Isak was there, he should have been aware of where he was. But I mean, that was bizarre, really, how it felt to Isak, but
it was.
His finish was tremendous. It wasn't particularly difficult finish, but he still had to make sure it went in. And Lewis looked like he was nearly going to even handball it, and and then straight away after the goal, which I think we deserved, that was when all the sliding tackles and everything started happening, and everybody cheering, and Dummett come flying forward, pressing, and you're like, what is he doing right way up there, But they just went for it.
To go back to the goal, I mean, it was a lovely bit of work by Joelinton, and I just love it when you see the size of the fella just running towards defenders, because Ake isn't a small fella neither, but when you've got a Joelinton run at you, you think it's like a steam train coming towards you. And when you took it out, when you're getting a little bit wide, I thought to myself, where's he? I thought he was going to maybe cut back on it again. But he didn't. He just hit the crossball straight across, which was great to see. And like you say, I think it was a little bit fortunate to get across to Isak, because there was a lot of players in between him and the ball at the time that Joelinton played it. But the composure, again, I mean, that's the word for Isak, isn't it? That's the buzzword, composure. Yeah. He's just really calm in those situations. And, most players don't take a touch there. Most players just hit it and, possibly
hope for the best.
Whereas he's took a touch and then he's hit it with the same foot that he's took a touch with. But it happens like that. It's not like he's took a touch, steadied himself, had a look or anything like that. He's touched it to take the pace off the ball, and then bang, straight in like that. And it's really smart, really smart. And like you say, after that, I mean, I had a feeling. I thought to myself, that's probably enough. If we don't go on to get a second, I thought there was a chance we might have. But then, as it got to around about 70 minutes, I think we started taking the foot off the gas a little bit. They brought Foden on. I think they thought to themselves, well, hang on, maybe we've got something we can hold on to here, because, the last time we played Man City, Foden absolutely ran the show, fair enough, in and around different players. But we kept him silent once he came on, I felt.
I found it interesting because the first half, they basically played 2-5-3. And they had the 5 across. And I think that was the reason why they had so much possession. And then second half, when we were at them, they reverted to 4-3-3. And they were basically worried about us, you know. Excuse me. And we kind of stuck to what we were, but when the goal went in, we changed almost to a 4-4-2, and the two up front, Murphy kind of went when Isak came off, and he had a bit of a knock, I think, or possibly a strain, so he went off. Hopefully he'll be all right. He said he was, but you just don't know. But you had Gordon up front, and Murphy was like the centre forward, really. And Gordon every now and then was fitting back in on the wing, and it was like a 4-5-1. But those two were running everywhere to try and stop them building anything. Miggy came on and did his usual running around and making it difficult.
He was good defensively. I thought
everybody played well. I think Tonali looks a better player when he's playing alongside Bruno as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought Bruno allowed both him and Joelinton to get forward. In the first half, Joelinton was playing as the winger, but it didn't kind of work out with him and Hall kind of going forward. We didn't have enough of the ball. But to me, when he plays in that midfield position and then interchanges with whoever's there, and it turned out to be Gordon's second half. And the same with Tonali, who did the same thing with Murphy. You can see, you know, the second half, if you watch it again, they get forward far, far more than they did in the first half. And it just caused so many problems for Man City. And then as soon as we lost the ball, we did what they like to do and fought to try and win it back immediately. It was like
a big
they were
difference from
straight
the first
on them.
half.
Yeah, they did the same job. And I mean, there were times in the game where Pep was actually applauding the Newcastle players. He applauded Gordon. He ran right across the full length of the pitch and put a tackle in, and on Kovacic, and Pep was applauding him. And at the end of the game, I do like him, man. I do like Pep, but he came on and he went round every single Newcastle player, and you could see he wasn't just shaking hands. He was telling them how well they'd done, you know, how well they'd played. And you know, he's class like that. I really like him, you know.
Well, I think there'll be lots more encounters between us and Manchester City. So like that respect will always be there, but you mightn't be you know, as we get closer and closer to having these sort of results against these top teams, maybe that respect probably won't be extended as much if those sort of results continue.
I think he enjoyed it though. I think Pep enjoyed that second half, and I was thinking, is he going to bring Haaland on? And then I thought he probably won't. He's probably saying he's got enough decent players on to do a job in this game. And watching him, when I watched the match again, he actually looked like he was, although they were losing, he looked like he was enjoying the match, the second half, more than the first half, because it was a proper game. And how many times do Man City find themselves in a proper game like that, where teams really at them, you know? And even though they lost, it's kind of a good workout for their players, because that doesn't happen to them very often, you know? So,
well, I mean, you know, as it happened, we hung on. We hung on, and we got to the we got to the end, the final whistle, and there was a massive roar, and there was a great feeling, and Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall, you know, the stadiums were rocking, and I was on a high, and then I woke up this morning, and I was just sort of digesting some of the social media and some of the other media outlets, and I'm gonna have a bit of a rant. Is it a rant? Maybe it'll turn into a rant.
go on then.
It's starting to get on my nerves a little bit now. Now I always say I like people underestimating me. Right, when we beat Brentford 1-0, it was a scrappy win. You know, they managed to get it out. Right, fair enough, it was.
Yeah.
Went away to the San Siro. oh yeah, got a nice draw. Aye, but they got battered though. They were lucky to get a 0-0 draw. Then you go and play Sheffield United, and you win 8-0. It's just a freak result, that though, isn't it? It's just a freak
Just
result.
Sheffield United. Aye.
Yeah, it's Sheffield United. It's a freak result, you know what I mean? They happen, you know what I mean? You've just not enough credit given. Then we
Yeah.
beat Man City last night, and all you hear is, they didn't really want to win though, did they? He didn't really want to be in the League Cup.
Yeah.
He was kind of forfeiting the game. It's like, come on, wait, so you're telling me their manager went in
Yeah.
there and went, oh, we'll get beat tonight, lads. Do us a favour, go out, don't get smashed, just get beat 1-0. Of course he didn't. I mean, listen to this,
Exactly.
right? So this is what somebody commented on the highlights on YouTube last night. We are that good. We almost won a game we were trying to lose. We
It's
are that
pathetic.
good. We almost won it. I mean, there's so much to unpack in that. We're so good. We almost won a game
Yeah.
that we were trying to lose.
It's
I mean,
pathetic.
who is it? I'm going to call them out. At Super City MCFC. If you see this, you're a moron. You haven't got a clue. And I know it's tongue in cheek, and I know you're taking the mick or stuff like that, right? But if that's what you honestly think, if that's honestly what you think, and it's getting to a stage now where it's getting to us a little bit, not enough. I'm so glad teams are underestimating we, right? But like, when are people going to realize that we're just a fucking good team?
Yeah,
We're just a good team and we're not going anywhere. Because it seems to me like as soon as we start getting went on a 3-game run where we got beat 3 times in a run, fair enough. Nobody was happy, but it was like, oh, Eddie Howe's in trouble. Oh, how are they going to turn it around? Oh, they're not the same team they were last season, and they're not going to be able to do it again. Now that the form's turned around again and the blip's gone, it's all these other reasons. It's not that we're doing well. It's that Pep didn't really want to win. He wanted to get rid of the League Cup so he could concentrate on other things. And I think it's moronic.
When I was collecting last night, I talked with quite a few people about Pep Guardiola, and everybody seems to like him and respect him. And somebody said to us, like, you know, he'll probably move on from them, and will he come to us? And I said, well, he wanted to come to Newcastle as a player when Bobby Robson was there, but it just didn't happen. And he was like, yeah, but he's won everything there now. What's he going to do now? And I said, well, he's won the Champions League. They did the treble last. He says, yeah, so what does he do now? And I says, the thing that he wants to do now is to do exactly the same thing again, but then he'll want to win the quadruple. He'll not want to just win the treble. He'll want to win all 4. And that's, because winning the things once is great, but then winning them all the next time round is harder again, and winning the extra cup that he didn't win. So of course he's going to go for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a moronic point of view, a perspective, isn't it? You know,
pathetic, really.
And I get it, The League Cup out of all of the competitions is probably the smallest spectacle out of them all. You know, but it's still a cup.
Exactly.
It's still a cup. It's still a cup. It's still a recognized piece of silverware, and he's a winner, and he wants to win everything that he's in there. So when you're seeing, and I get it, right? So this guy's probably just a fan having a bit of laugh or something like that. But when you're seeing main media outlets coming out with this, saying, he didn't really want to win, did he? I think he'd probably secretly be quite happy that he's out of the competition. What, you think Pep Guardiola got to where he is today by being happy he's been knocked out of a competition? And it's like how do these people get jobs? How do these people get jobs? Well, because they come out with crap like that.
There's a difference with that and what I said, where I think he actually enjoyed the game, he enjoyed the challenge, but he wouldn't. Yeah. He will not enjoy the fact that they lost. He will not enjoy that one bit.
Knocked out of the cup at the first attempt. He'll not be happy with that at all, and he'll be turning around. He'll be turning around to his board and saying, "Look, me depth isn't deep enough." There you go.
Yeah,
exactly. We've just been shown it there, and well, it is what it is. I've getting that off my chest. That off my chest.
Good.
But I tell you what,
you didn't spit your teeth out neither.
So there'll be none of that though, Davy, this Saturday when we smash Burnley, because this Saturday it's in James's Park. Newcastle United host Burnley in the Premier League, And am I right in saying that it is the first 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff I've had this season?
Oh, honestly, I can never remember. I just turn up. I don't care
Yeah,
what
I think
time
it
it is.
is.
You
I
might
think
be
it was.
right.
I think it was 5:30 because all the other ones have been televised. This is the first game that hasn't
Yeah.
been televised, has it? So yeah, I mean, and I'm expecting a good encounter. I mean, let's have a little look. We'll have a little look at some of the head-to-heads previously,
Hmm.
because we have, and I didn't realize this, we have played Burnley a hell of a lot of times in the past. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into go into all of them because there's effectively
Well, there's a
there's just
little stat. There's a
there's
little
too
stat
many.
for Burnley playing at St James's Park. The last time Burnley won at St James's Park was in April '76. So that
It
was a
was
long
there.
time.
There
I
it is,
was there.
17th of April, 1976.
I was there, and we were doing really
Were
well
you there?
at that point.
Was it
Yeah, I
a
was
gift for your
there.
40th birthday? Was it? Hey!
Actually, I was there. I just turned 7. Just turned
No,
7.
but I mean,
But they've not won in the
eh,
9 attempts
well,
since
I
at
mean,
St James's Park.
well, we'll have a look at like the last two. Well, we'll not go that far, but we'll go the last two.
Yeah,
So I mean, there's been some good games in that one. If we look from around about here, so the 3rd of October, 2020. Oh, 3rd of October, not far off. So we always seem to play them around about this time.
yeah,
That one was 3-1. It was in an empty stadium. It was Maxi got the first one.
yeah.
Westwood equalised for Burnley on that one, and Wilson made it 2-1, and it was his first ever goal at St James's Park. However, there
Right.
was nobody there to celebrate it with him because it was in an
Yeah,
empty
yeah,
stadium. And he
yeah,
also got the third to make it 3-1. The game after that, it was yes, the 11th of April, and that was another win for Newcastle United away from home this time again in an empty stadium. They actually
yeah,
took the lead on that one. Vidra made it 1-0, and then it was our friend Murphy. Yes, it was Murphy. He scored an absolute worldie to make it 1-1,
yeah,
and Maxi got the winner again on that one.
yeah,
Then there was a 0-0 League Cup where we got beat on penalties, I think. We'll not talk about that, man. We're getting
yeah.
tired about the League Cup. Let's
Ancient
move back
history.
onto the Premiership. So Wilson got the only goal. If I remember this game actually, so Wilson got the goal, and was it a clanger by Nick Pope? I don't know whether it was. He came and collected the
Mm,
cross, and
yeah,
I think it was Fraser he went on to, and the ball came out of his hands, ended up at Wilson, and he put like a lovely goal in. And I'm sure we
aye.
were desperate for a win at that stage. Was that our first win? Was that our first win of that season after we went on that 14 game run?
It
I think
might
it
well
might
have
have been.
been. It might
I
well
think it
have been.
was, yeah.
You know what I'm
So that
like.
was
I
the only.
can't remember.
I'm sure it
Uh,
was. I'm sure that was our 15th game, and it was our first. It was our first win. And then at Burnley, it was a cracker. Actually, the Burnley that was the last game of the season, and they needed to get at least a draw to stay up.
yeah,
And as it happened, a draw would have been enough for them. But Wilson got a penalty, and then he made it. He made it 2-0 as well. And then
yeah,
Coney, he'd scored it to make it 2-1. I remember they were battering down the door. They were absolutely
yeah,
battering
yeah,
down the door.
yeah,
Oh, I'm going to get rid of that before we get copyrighted. Um, he was they were battering down the door. Wasn't to be, and we sent them down. So maybe there's a little something there from
yeah.
the Burnley perspective. They may feel like the over one. But yeah,
Well,
some good encounters in the past.
I've been to Burnley a few times, and they're always difficult games. But the difference is they played a certain way, as we know, under Sean Dyche, and they're completely different now, completely transformed, different types of players. I think they've got a couple of players that are still there, but the majority seem to have moved on, and they play really decent football. Now I looked, there was a start where they actually against Man United, although they lost against Man United, I think it was just one goal in it. They made 572 passes, and the completion rate was 88.4% against Man United. So to me, that's pretty good at any level, really, regardless. But you're playing against Man United and managing to do that. They're no pushover. The thing with them is what do you call him? The striker Foster got sent off against Notts Forest right at the end of the match, and I think he's missed 2 games because one of them will be the cup game this week.
Yeah,
So it'll be
he is
3
banned.
games. So he'll be banned for Saturday. So they've only really got one other striker, and scoring goals is they've only scored 4 goals this season. If we take the cups out of the equation, they've only scored 4 league goals, and he scored 2 of them, and
Yeah,
the
I
other
mean,
ones were scored by
we've got
is it Amdouni
well,
and
I've got.
Brownhill. Yeah. Oh, you're looking at the matches they've played, aye.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll have a look at the matches of players now, and I'll get their teams up as well, because I think it's going to need a bit of refresher, both for myself and probably for anybody watching as well, because, like you
Yeah.
say, they are pretty much a bit of a transformed team. So looking at their current form, I mean, they've had a bit of a mixed start in terms of if teams have had to play. They've had a couple
Yeah.
of really difficult games, and then you could say possibly one that they could probably get something from. But yeah, they've had it pretty tough. So opening game, they had Manchester City. Nobody wants that as their opening game.
Yeah.
Got beat 3-0. Man City came out easy winners on that one. And then at home again against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Again, another difficult game. They got beat 3-1 on that one.
Yeah.
We'll take away with the Carabao Cup. So then they were at home again to Tottenham
Spurs,
Hotspur,
wasn't it?
where they
Aye.
got beat 5-2 on that particular one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They did
scoring
manage
2
to get
goals
their only
against
point
Spurs.
so far this season.
Aye.
Yeah, two goals against Spurs. I mean, it's just unfortunate the other end they're letting 5 in. Does that tell you that when they do try to attack,
Yeah. Yeah.
they make
Yeah.
themselves open a little bit? So
Yeah.
that to me, when you look at the 1-1 against Forest, and then all of a sudden you've got a 1-0 against Manchester United, I'm probably thinking to myself, right, okay, so from that Tottenham game through to that Manchester United game, have the maybe changed the look and said, right, well, actually, we're probably going to have to sit back a little bit more against these sort of teams. I didn't see any of the games, I'll be honest with you, but
Yeah.
1 point. They're in that group of 3 teams that have been promoted,
Yeah.
and there's been a lot of chat recently about the golfing class moving up from the Championship into the Premier League. Now, each one of those 3 teams have all got a point each. We
Yeah.
stuffed one of them last weekend.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it'll not be stuffing like the one last weekend, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a very difficult day again for Burnley, and I kind of see them moving on from getting that 1 point they've got to having any more. All I can see is a bigger goal deficit on the goal difference. What do you think?
I hope you're right. I just think the fact that they obviously pass the ball around, they're not mugs. And I've seen bits and bobs of their games. I haven't seen much of them. But each game that they've played, even when they've lost, people have, pundits have said that they've actually played really quite well and looked dangerous at times. But as I mentioned, that the main striker who scored half their goals so far, albeit only 2, but it's still 2 goals he's going to be missing. And Goodmanson as well, he came off after 20 minutes the other day. So is he going to be fit enough to play? So,
Well,
he's...
according to Fantasy Football Scout, they seem to think he's got about a 75% chance of playing. What they're
Right.
basing that on, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, definitely out for Burnley is you've got Cherlanov, Ekdal, Obafemi, and Foster. So Cherlanov's got blood poisoning. Bloody hell. Michael Obafemi's got a hamstring. Hjalmar Ekdal, he's got a knee. And yeah, Lyle Foster, he's actually banned. It's the final game of his ban. So I mean, looking at their team, I mean, that Abduni, I think is, he's not a terrible player. And also, Koleosho is probably one to watch as well. I think he
Yeah,
came with a little bit of excitement from the Burnley fans when they
yeah,
signed him. So, I mean, looking at their team, this is a predicted lineup here. They seem to think it's been Roberts, Al Dakil. I know him and Bayer. I think they've played every game
yeah.
so far, and then Taylor playing at left back.
I've
And then
got them. I've got them four at the back with Trafford and goal.
aye, that's right. These seem to think Cullen and Aaron Ramsey will probably play a bit more of a defensive midfield with Koleosho, Brownhill, and Trezor
Well,
backing up Abduni up front.
I've gone with Berg instead of Ramsey. But he played on Tuesday night as well. But he came on for Ramsey the other day. But he was like their kind of holding midfielder. So because he's more of that type of player, that's why I'm thinking he might play Berg for to try and stop us rather than Ramsey. But that's just my thoughts on it anyway. So I've gone Berg, Cullen, and Brownhill. But probably with Berg in the middle. But I honestly don't know. Now there's a lad as well who came on to play alongside Amdoni when Goodmanson came off early, called Trezor. And I wonder, is he related to Marius Trezor, the French international from the late 70s and the 80s?
Uh-huh.
I haven't looked him up yet. I should have had a quick look, but I will ask him when we meet tea, so I didn't get a chance. But I just wonder if he's related, because Trezor, I don't know how common a name that is, and for a footballer, because Marius Trezor was a cracking player.
Yeah, Marius Trezor. I'll have a little look. Let's find out, because you've piqued me interest with that actually. But I mean, just while I'm doing that as well, I've got a feeling Burnley have probably looked at the game against Sheffield United last week and thought to themselves, well, hang on a
Yeah,
second. They've got a lot of players out there that can score goals. They really do. I think they're going to look to shut up the shop early doors and try and
try
stop
and
us
get
from
some
playing
of
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah,
And maybe we might see like a
I
really
think you're right.
congested
Yeah,
penalty area come the weekend. So it's going to be another test for Newcastle United to see how we sort of deal with teams that can come and set up like this, because we're probably going to see it more and more at St James's Park with teams who are going to be predominantly in the bottom half of the table. No disrespect to Burnley.
Who have you gone for our team? Who have you gone for?
So for our team, well, I wanted to show you something, Davey, because
Go on then.
it gives us the Woolies a little bit, and I don't know how sort of again it's the same site. I had a look at this before, and I don't know how correct it is, but if we move down to Newcastle United, I'm seeing lots of doubts here. So on this particular one, the Fantasy Football Scout, again, they could just be plucking these from thin air. But we know that Barnes is out, we know Kraft's out, we know Willock's out. But there's a few 75%ers on there, so they're expecting a few knocks. Now, whether they all play or not, I'm unsure. But they're saying Botman, Byrne, Dubravka, Gamarez, Isaac, Murphy, and Wilson all may be carrying knocks. Now, how true that is, I don't know.
Thing is,
I
it's
thought
like
it was
it's like what? It's sorry. It's I think there's a slight delay, Kev. But the thing is that they always say players carry knocks all the way through the season. The only time you haven't got a knock is when they blow the whistle for the first game, the start of the season. So players will play through knocks. Look at Joe Ellington. Joe Ellington hasn't had any surgery or anything on his knee. He's literally just had a bit of a rest, gone to have a look at it in Barcelona, and they've said, right, have a rest. He's come back, trained once, I think, and then the performance that he put in against Man City was just tremendous, and the guy's got a dodgy knee. Do you know what I mean? likes of Wilson, I mean, we know his hamstrings, liable to go at any time. Isak came off, a bit sooner than we'd expect. Was he just wanting to rest? I don't know. But I've gone for more or
Go on
less.
then, yeah, give us
Well,
yours then
I've
first.
gone Pope, I've gone Trippier, Shea, Botman, and Burn at the back because I think if he can do, we'll keep them in. I don't know about any we saw Botman fell badly last week, but I don't know of anything else. Shea looked all right when he came on, and then I've gone Longstaff, Bruno, and Anderson. I just think he might rest Tonali and play Anderson. I've got a feeling he might play Tonali on Wednesday. And then I've gone Miggy, Wilson, and Gordon up front. So no real surprises there,
No real surprises. I mean, I had given it a thought. I mean, I've picked the same team as you, but a couple of the ones I was sort of thinking about, I was kind of thinking to myself, might he, after Livermento's man of the match performance, by the way, if Livermento's lass is watching, if you're washing these shorts, just make sure to check the pockets and make sure you get Grealish out of them before you put them in the washer, you know what I mean? Because he's fully in there. Yeah, after his man of the match performance, I thought to myself, could you put Trippier over onto the left and maybe play Livramento on the right? Could this be
Well,
a game where they do that? I
he
don't
could
think he will.
if Burns injured, then possibly, but I don't know. And I mean, the lad he's been injured. He's been out for a long time. Livramento, he's come back. He's played a cracking game. Against one of the best wingers in the world, really. We can have a laugh at Grealish and this, that, and the other, but he's a top player. And he was fantastic. I don't think he's going to play him on Saturday after, that's his first full game for well over a year, so I don't think he'll play him for that reason, to be honest.
That's the reason I did go with the same team as you, and I did go
Yeah.
with the same back five with Pope in there. I do think Livramento will get on at some stage, especially if the game, looks comfortable. I think he'll be rotating some of the dead starts. I mean, if we're sort of out of sight, so to speak, come 60 minutes, I think we'll get a really good indication of what the starting lineup will be on Wednesday by some of the substitutions that he makes.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson was the other one I was unsure about just because of fitness. I just thought with him not coming on last night, I thought, well, that's one or two things like that. He's not fit enough to play, or he just wants to keep him fully fit for Saturday.
Well, when he scored the other day, he immediately rubbed his hamstring. Now, whether that was a signal to the bench or what, but Eddie Howe got him off almost immediately, and I think he was there because wasn't he in the photos and there at the end? But I think that's a good sign though. All the players that didn't play and weren't in the squad, they were all still there. But I think he'll play him. I think he'll play unless there's something worse happened with his hamstring that we don't know about. But I think he's at a stage now where he probably doesn't have to train very much to keep his fitness levels, and he's just needed a little bit of a light training and a bit of a rest, and then we want them both fit for Wednesday, but it's Premier League. We want to get as many points as we can and get up, up the league, and
I think that should be our main focus as well. Especially in games where you look at and on paper you should be winning. You don't want to sort of take them for granted. You want to play a strong 11 to make sure that they get across the line.
But do we not want to prefer to lose on Saturday and go for the Champions League? Do you not think we might? That's what it's like. These idiots.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Let's try and lose on.
Let's try and lose
on
against
Sunday.
Burnley because we didn't really fancy it, Idiots.
It's funny, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, we've pretty much picked similar teams. Although I've said earlier on in the video that I think they are going to pack the box, and it may be a bit of a challenge for Newcastle United to work out how to break them down. I think we will. And I think once the first one goes in, then there might be another 2 to follow. So I'll go first this time on my score. I'm going 3-0 because I bet you are thinking the same. It's just the type of game that seems to have 3-0 written all over it, doesn't it? And I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
go with a go for
go on then.
Callum Wilson, Gordon, and Longstaff. That's where I'm going.
I'm gonna be a bit more conservative because I think, although I don't think they're gonna be defending as deeply as you are expecting. I think they're going to try and go for it a bit more. But by doing that, they could end up leaving more gaps in behind. So it's a difficult one because I'm talking myself into one score and then talking myself out of another by saying these different things. I just reckon it's going to be 2-0 to us. I think, I think we'll have enough to contain them. I think they're going to come out early doors, and I think they're going to really go for it first 15 minutes and try and get something. Hopefully they won't, and then I think our class will just show. We've got this mentality now, the last few games, where we haven't let any goals in, and we've changed the way that, Eddie Howe's got them, the way he's got them thinking about the games, and we've got goals all the way through the team. That was proven last weekend. So, but I'm going to go for a goal by Gordon again. And I quite fancy Bruno for a goal as well.
Gordon and Bruno. So 2 goals from midfield. Well, that doesn't sound like a bad scoreline, but it's definitely going to be 3-0. It's definitely going to be 3-0. I've been nowhere near the scores, by the way. On every single video, I'm never anywhere near the scores.
Well, we said 2-1 for Man City, so we win by a goal. So
we got the deficit right, didn't we?
Yeah,
we got the deficit right. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much for listening, watching. Couple of asks for you. If you have gotten this far, please give the video a like. It really helps with the algorithm, and it gets the video out to fellow Newcastle fans as well who might be searching. So we'd love to get as many people as we can watching these videos.
Yeah.
If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button, and why not give it a share as well? And comment down below what you think the scoreline is going to be and the scorers, because I'm telling you, as soon as we get somebody nailed on, they're getting a prize. Like I said, we don't know what it is yet. Could be good, could be really shit, but you'll get something. You get something. But we'll be back again with more all the pies analysis and and nice teeth.
All right.
So yeah, we'll be back after the game. We'll have a little chat about whatever happens on Saturday, and we'll also look forward to what's going to be one of the biggest nights in St James's Park history as we entertain Paris Saint-Germain. So lots to look forward to. It's a heavy schedule, but we're absolutely loving it.
Need to focus on Saturday though. We don't want to play to lose. We want to focus.
Yes. We want to win the game we're trying to win, not nearly win the game we're trying to lose. Isn't that right, Ed? Isn't that right? So until the next time, have yourselves a good weekend. Enjoy the match and come on.